Hey everyone, just another vlog today. I thought I'd talk about some movies this time around. In one of my previous vlogs, there was some footage that ended up on the cutting room floor where I was basically talking about the new Star Trek movie that's coming out, Star Trek Beyond. And because it just ended up being quite a rant about the lack of promotion about the movie and this being Star Trek's 50th anniversary, I decided to cut a lot of that footage out. But anyway, we're about 2 weeks away from movie release. Of course, I have my tickets already, and so I thought I would start talking about it for this vlog. And firstly, I'm going to start off with this year has been slightly disappointing with movies so far. We recently watched Alice Through the Looking Glass. I didn't mind the 2010 version that came out, the live-action Johnny Depp version. I thought it was fairly good. But this one just was a little bit underwhelming as a story. They really took the wonder out of Wonderland, I felt. And also just recently with my father, we went and watched the sequel to Independence Day. That's Independence Day Resurgence. It's been 20 years since the first movie came out. And I mean, I went in with reasonably low expectations anyway. But even then, the movie was just so disappointing. Most of what was good about the film you saw in the previews. The story was lacking. I mean, I guess arguably the original film wasn't that great anyway, but when it came out in '96, it was amazing. There were documentaries set up that were dedicated to the special effects from this film. Now we're 20 years on where special effects is just expected and it has to be, it's just a part of every movie these days. And the previews came out, we had 20 years to prepare and all that. Well, they had 20 years to work on a much better film, and anyway. So where does this lead to? I guess Star Trek Beyond is coming out. It's the third installment of this rebooted take on the franchise, and there's a lot riding on it because of the 50th anniversary. A lot of Trekkies are very passionate about Star Trek. A lot of, I would say, purists of the original timeline have been very scathing of J.J. Abrams' work. And as a long-time Trekkie myself, I can understand some of their problems, but I still enjoy the new Trek films. I just enjoy the fact that Star Trek continues to endure. And I'm really looking forward to the new series for 2017. I think that's going to be amazing. That's where Star Trek really belongs. It's where it does well, in short episodic bites, where they can reflect the issues of the real world, in 40-minute blocks. And we're going to have a 13 episode first season, and I'm just excited to see what they do. It'll be interesting. But anyway, back to Beyond. Look, I really enjoyed both of JJ's entries into the franchise. Star Trek in 2009 was great. When I came out, I was applauding. I gave, it was like, it's a 5 out of 5 movie. On successive rewatches, I've adjusted that score a bit. There are problems with it, no doubt. It is very much Star Wars rather than Star Trek, but it is still a fun adventure. And forgiving them for the destruction of Vulcan and for some convenient storylines like Kirk immediately promoted from cadet to captain. The movie itself was great. The special effects were good. The villain could have been a bit better, especially with Eric Bana, an Australian actor. He was really underutilized, but the point of that film wasn't the villain, it was the origin story of how our crew came together. Into Darkness wasn't so bad. My initial response to it was disappointment. It was very much a mirroring of the most popular and probably the favorite Star Trek film of most diehard fans, that's Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. I mean, even myself, in recent viewings, that got the highest rating from me. There was just too much similar. But again, after watching it a few more times, I really came to enjoy the movie. There's a lot going on in it. It's a bit of a mess story-wise if you would really pick it apart, but it does try to be a little bit different. So in following that, with all the previews for Star Trek Beyond, it does look like it's going to be a different adventure, but with some similarities to the original Star Trek 3, which was the search for Spock. The most obvious one looks like we will lose the Enterprise in this movie. Whilst all the Into Darkness previews showed the Enterprise in great peril, we obviously know that she survived. I'm not sure she can survive the beating it looks like she's going to take in these in the 3 previews that have come out. I was quite disappointed up until a few months ago that there had been virtually no promotion of Star Trek Beyond. As I said before, the 50th anniversary is this year, and we'd only had been treated to 1 preview, and it was lackluster at best. The soundtrack to it was that Beastie Boys song. It didn't have a Star Trek feel to it, and there was a lot of criticism on Justin Lin, who's famous for the Fast and Furious franchise, that there was a motorbike scene in it. It looked like it was Fast and Furious in space. Now, I'm a fan of the Fast and Furious franchise, but I do want to keep it separate from Star Trek. The second preview came out shortly after my rant that never made it to the channel, and that was far better. We got a great look at some beautiful special effects. There's some diverse aliens. There seems to be something going on, so hopefully they're not letting the story down here. There is obviously a villain. He appears to have a gripe against the Federation, or perhaps Kirk and the Enterprise itself. As I said, there's a repetition of the scenes of the Enterprise being destroyed by a swarm of ships. But then there are these beautiful vistas. There looks like there's this lovely starbase, and apparently it's called Yorktown. So there's this starbase out there that they go to. There's this planet they visit. There's another ship which does appear to hark back to Star Trek Enterprise in its design. A lot of people are thinking that it is an NX class. It isn't, but yeah, you know, the fact that they're doing these things, little homages, sounds interesting. The third preview came out about a week or so ago, and it features a song by Rihanna, who has who has come forward and said that she is a big fan of Star Trek. In another story, a lot of fans are saying that that's BS. They don't believe that she is a fan, and I think they've been pretty rude about it, from what I've been reading, and that's quite disappointing. Star Trek is about diversity, infinite diversity in infinite combinations, and I mean, who's to say that someone famous couldn't like Star Trek? Just because she's hot, because she's famous, why should that be a problem? Why should that be a block against someone enjoying the series and the shows, the movies, everything? I would hate to become famous and then to have people question my loyalty to the franchise. I think that's absolute nonsense. It's ridiculous. So she brought out a video clip to a song called Sledgehammer. It's been used in the third preview. There's some great special effects and scenes that are used in that, and so that's a good watch, and I think it's great. You know, if it brings Rihanna fans to the franchise, all the better. You know, the more the merrier, definitely. It's been revealed in the last few days that one of the main characters of the Enterprise crew is in fact gay, and so again, there's been a massive backlash from fans about this, and I do not see what the problem is. Shows like Game of Thrones have been addressing this issue, have been addressing this thing for since they began, and no one cares about that. No one should care, and no one should be made to feel bad about the fact that this is happening. And I think it's probably a good thing that finally Star Trek is addressing the larger issue. It often does come up in fan comments and stuff that there's no LGBTI characters in Star Trek. Some people feel that it was addressed in a Deep Space Nine episode between 2 women, but that was a completely different story. So it'll be interesting how it's handled, because this is the 23rd century, this is Gene Roddenberry's future. It will just be accepted, as it should be today. And that's all I really want to say about that. I don't want to get caught up in the rights and the wrongs. I believe, you know, Star Trek is about acceptance of everyone, no matter what. And yeah. So I think it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to the movie. I have tickets to the advanced screening, which will be on July 20th. And no doubt I will see it at least twice in the cinemas, possibly 3 times, just so that I can get across the storyline and make a decent review of it afterwards. I don't want to jump too soon. Like I said, Star Trek 2009, I was like, yeah, 5 out of 5. I think more nowadays it's probably a 3.5 star movie for overall. Into Darkness, I was a bit disappointed. For me it's a 3-star movie, so I'll be interested to see where Beyond goes with it. What happens to the Enterprise, how it comes into its predicament, does it survive? I really don't think it will, but do they get a new ship at the end? Keeping in mind that this is supposed to be within their 5-year mission. You know, so it looks like the Enterprise won't complete its 5-year mission as it did in the original timeline. So what's the repercussions of that. I hope the story writers don't take a bit of a cheat and just go, oh well, yep, here you go, here's a new ship and it's the Enterprise A. The Enterprise A was gifted to Kirk at the end of Star Trek 4 purely because of the historical significance of the name Enterprise when that ship was destroyed, and also Kirk saved Earth from its own shortcomings. So, you know, that was the movie with the whales in it, people. I also hope that if there is a fourth Star Trek in this installment, I know I'm jumping ahead here, don't do the whale movie. Let's not do the whale movie, guys. Look, I'm a Trekkie, and I'll be watching it no matter what. So, if they do a whale movie, I'll be there. So anyway, just a bit of a rant here about some sci-fi stuff. You should know I'm a fan of it already. If it's not evident by what's behind me, or if you know me. So I hope it wasn't too boring. I might start some other reviews and things of films and stuff in my future vlogs, just to do something different. Still always looking for something different. We're going away for a little bit over the next week, so I might see if I can document some of that. Should be interesting. And yeah, I think I've talked enough. I wonder if I've left anything out. Alright. Yeah, so stay tuned until the next one. Thanks for watching.